Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the workshop on this fine Montana morning. You've got a little bit of sword breaker to work to do because it is part 10 of the sword breaker. That's right, we hit double digits. Very exciting. Although does it really count? It's really part 4 because I think in part 6 I broke the original blade that I had spent several weeks working on, and then we sent over a billet to our friend Jason at Fireball Tool, and he cut out this fantastic looking sword breaker for us. So today is the day that we're going to get the blade ready for etch. Hopefully get into the etch today. We will see. We've got some hand sanding to do. We've got to clean up the inside of all of those water jet cut marks on the inside of the teeth and the tops of the teeth. So really what we've got today is a whole lot of hand sanding. We're gonna start off by taking the bevels and the flats of the blade up to 400 grit before we move on to going ahead and finishing out the inside of the teeth here. And then after those are finished out, we'll come back and do 600 grit over the whole blade before we go ahead and go into the etch. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and give these stones another shot. I just think that they're gonna be the easiest way to get inside all of these teeth here. We'll see though. Maybe I'll have to end up going to a rotary tool for some of it. I know I'm gonna have to end up going to a rotary tool for the round parts, but I'm hoping for the flats that I can get it done with the stones, and that'll be the quickest option. So the reason that I'm using stones and not sandpaper is that getting sandpaper into a place like this is just going to be a little bit more difficult, and I'm hoping that I can just use the abrasiveness of the stone and not have to worry about folding pieces of paper over or anything like that, and I'll just be able to get in there and get it done real quick as opposed to having to cut paper and mess with it and all that stuff. So I've turned on the steam cleaner, I got it running, and the reason that I turned it on is because I need to clean this out, and it's really impossible to do because the abrasive stone slurry mixed with Zippo fluid makes a water-resistant, sticky paste sort of thing, and I want to see what it looks like underneath that, but I can't because it's stuck on there. You can't wash it off regular. I'm hoping that the steam cleaner will be able to get it off, but we shall see. All right, we got those flats sanded up to 400 grit. That'll be plenty good enough for a nice good etch inside there. That's not the super important part of the etch anyway, but it's gonna look really nice. It's time to run upstairs and clean up the water jet marks from the inside of these little swoopty-doopty things. Probably gonna use some rubberized abrasives, probably not too many burrs or anything like that, just things to really just smooth those out a little bit. It should go pretty quick, and then we'll come back and we'll clean up the tops of these teeth up to 600 grit, make those look nice. Then the flats and bevels at 600, and then we will be ready for the etch. Woo! I think this is gonna be the best one for the job. It is a diamond burr. It should be able to get into most of these places. I might have to switch down to something smaller later on down the line. All right, we got those insides cleaned out with a diamond burr. And they're looking nice and clean. They'll etch pretty dang well. Now time to finish the tops of these bad mamma jammas. Gonna clamp it in the vise, throw some sandpaper on a stick, take them up to 600 grit, and then we'll move back on to finishing the blade. I'll be performing a duet today with my good friend, the Swordbreaker. Jeremiah was a bullfrog, was a good friend of mine. All right, just kidding. I won't sing. We got the tops of these sanded out. They look fantastic. It's at 600 grit with nice scratch lines going in the right direction. It is now time to grind ourselves a little false edge up here. So we're gonna be taking this part to an edge. It'll be a bit of a triangle shape, and it helps when you're stabbing people. So it's incredibly important on a piece like this that will be used on the battlefield regularly. Obviously, it's important for our troops to have a good sword breaker on hand. No, it just looks nice. That's it. We're gonna go ahead and do it anyway. Grind it in, hand sand it before we move on to doing the hand sanding of the blade. Aw, dang it. I scratched it like a million times in the right direction. We're done hand sanding on this side. It's time to flip it over and do 600 grit on the other side. We've got that side hand sanded, like I said. It's looking fabulous, and it's now time to put some blue tape on this side. Now you may ask yourself, Will, why are you putting blue painter's tape on this side? You're not even gonna paint it. Now that's correct, but what blue painter's tape does is protect this side while I hand sand the other side. So I'm gonna tape it, cut around the edges, and then peel it off, and we will have one gorgeous hand sanded sword breaker, which is what we want. You just mask it off, it protects it from scratches and stuff like that. It's all good, let's do it. People informing me that I had fit up the guard on the wrong side of the sword breaker. I would just like to say that no, that is not true. We do think things through a little bit more than that. This is a historical sword breaker that's in the Wallace collection. It's one that we largely based the design of this off of. And if you'll notice, the D-ring seen here and here is on this side of the blade with the teeth facing to the left. And the reason for that is this is a, I don't know how to pronounce it, main gouge. It's spelled main gouge, it's not pronounced main gouge. I don't know how to pronounce it properly. Parrying dagger, and so you would assume that you would hold it like this because you want your edge down, but that is not the case. You want the teeth facing down and the D-ring protecting your hand on this side. So we did think it through just a little bit. Just a little bit, we thought it through and based it off of this design. So no need to worry about that. We're good to move on to the handle work. Woo! All right, guys, we've got ourselves a chunk of African blackwood here. As you can see, we're gonna be cutting it kinda close there. Fortunately, I have plenty of practice fitting things up nice and close, getting the absolute most out of my handle material, because as a up-and-coming 14-year-old bladesmith, I often skimped out and bought the smallest handle material that I could to fit into the project, so I have plenty of experience in getting the absolute most out of my handle material. So this shouldn't be any problem at all. We're gonna go ahead, fit up the rough parts of the handle, and then we're gonna make the pommel. I like to have all those pieces fit up so that there's, you know, they're nice and tightly fit up before I move on to doing the actual finish work and the contouring and shaping and stuff like that. That way we have plenty of room to fudge things into place, make sure that we're not gonna be screwing it up in an irreversible way. So I'm gonna go ahead, cut this blackwood, drill some holes, fit it up onto the tang, and we'll go ahead and move on to the pommel. All right, guys, I've started carving out my slot. That drill bit walked an awful lot during the drilling process. I kind of figured that would happen. It's all right. You can see it's centered on this side, not so centered on that side. But before we finish that part out, I realized that the end of the tang is a lot thicker than it needs to be. We need to carve that down and thread it. Now, despite the fact that I already cracked off the end of the tang, we've still got plenty of room on there. We're not gonna have to weld on anything. I'm gonna carve it down and thread it with M4 thread, so we'll be able to turn the pommel onto it to lock that handle into place. So, time to go ahead, carve in our shoulders and kind of freehand in the 4 mil round that we can then thread. And we're gonna go ahead and do that before we fit up the rest of the handle block, because I don't want the end of that tang to be getting in the way. I wanna get a nice fit, and I don't wanna have any extra material on the end there that's gonna be getting in the way of anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now before I move on to more woodworking. So I was about to thread the end of this tang piece, and then I realized I should probably hold off on that for a little while. I don't want to risk messing up those threads at all, so I figured I'll hold off until after I've got the handle fit up and I need to thread it. Then I'll do the threading. It's not going to change the profile of this at all. I've got that set in place. I can now fit up the rest of that handle block, knowing that I'm not really going to be changing this area too much at all. So we're in a good spot for finishing off the fit up of that handle block. So we're back. We're back to fitting up the handle block. I'm actually using some wax files on this to carve out the slot a little bit more, because they're super aggressive rasps. That carve away the wood really, really quickly. Very, very, very aggressive, which is pretty dang handy. I'm switching back and forth, side to side, switching it around so I can carve out the back a little bit better, making sure I'm keeping everything nice and square. Spines are so sharp, I just cut myself. Oh gosh. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, some grade A medical treatment right there. All better. Wow, it just makes it feel so much better so fast. It's really unbelievable. All right, back to work. So we've got that slot filed out. It's a pretty big slot. There's a reason for that we will explain in the next episode, but right now I need to go ahead, take some material off of here so that that block will actually sit flush on the guard. Alright guys, we got that handle block fit up nice and tight and flat against the guard. I also had to flatten off the bottom of the guard because it was not totally flat either. It was dinged and dented and stuff like that, but we're all good now. In other news, I found an awesome new snack. It's nuts. Very good. Now before we close out the video, I'd like to do a quick plug of our new modular hat system. It's a very, very cool proprietary system wherein the hats stack on top of each other for extra fashion. Now, should you choose to be a scrub and only buy one hat, they also fit very well on the head. They're very comfortable. It's a snapback, so if you have a big head, if you have a small head, if you have a medium-sized head, it's gonna do it all. But obviously the best solution is to buy many hats and walk around and look awesome all the time. It's a great conversation starter with the ladies. They're like, hey, get out of here. I don't want to talk to you because you're wearing 6 hats. So definitely worth hopping over to alecsteelshop.com to grab yourself some hats. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye-bye.